Emma first noticed him one night while brushing her teeth, a faint figure in the bathroom mirror just behind her shoulder. She blinked, thinking it was a trick of the light, but the figure didn't fade. It was a man with dark, piercing eyes, looking straight at her. Startled, she spun around, but no one was there. Heart pounding, she turned back to the mirror. Nothing, just her own reflection staring back, wide-eyed and alone. At first, she tried to ignore it, chalking it up to stress or lack of sleep. But the man kept returning, each time clearer, closer, like he was trying to reach her from the other side. And as the weeks went by, he didn't just appear, he whispered. When the house was silent, she'd hear her name faintly echoing, like a plea carried on a distant wind. Emma. Determined to understand, Emma dove into research, scouring old records and local legends, desperate to uncover anything about her house's past. But the history was clean. No accidents, no hauntings, nothing to explain this ghostly visitor. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling that that he was somehow connected to her. One night, as she stared at his ghostly form in the mirror, she mustered her courage and whispered, "Who are you?" To her shock, he whispered back, his voice barely audible, like a fading echo, "Help me." The next day, as she was sorting through her old belongings, Emma stumbled upon a photo she didn't recognize. Her hands trembled as she looked at it. It was of her and the man in the mirror, standing close together, smiling at what looked like a family gathering. She didn't remember the event, she didn't even remember. But there he was, looking at her with the same intensity she saw in the mirror every night. Confused and frightened, Emma turned back to the mirror that night. "Why are you haunting me?" she demanded, her voice quivering. The figure leaned forward, his face filled with sorrow. "I'm not haunting you," he replied. The world seemed to tilt. Memories flooded back to Emma, flashes of a dark accident, a quiet hospital room, the feeling of slipping away. She remembered now, was the ghost. She had died years ago, and this man was her husband, left behind in grief. Visiting the empty house where they'd once lived, seeing only faint glimmers of her in mirrors, like the memory of a face you can't forget. Emma reached out to him, but her hand met only the cold, smooth glass. As her husband turned away from the mirror, a tear slipping down his cheek, Emma realized the truth. She was the one haunting him, trapped in the memory of a life that was no longer hers, forever watching him from the other side.